Hi guys, David Hart here, Director of Strategic Partnerships at Axions. I'm sat in our Customer Experience Hub with my colleague Chris. Before we dive in, Chris, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
Sure, my name is Chris Gilmore. I'm the CTO for Axions in the UK, and I've been working in this part of the industry for 25 plus years.
So Chris, we're going to go into some of the trends and insights, or share your insights into the AltNet space. What do you sort of feel the top sort of three trends within the AltNet space for 2025 are?
The drive to monetize the network is a key one. They're all getting pressure now from the PE backers. Merger and acquisition is in effect going to be a driver and also a symptom of the monetizing the network. The monetizing the network piece will drive you to try and do as much as you can with what you have. You'll get to a point where the only way to actually drive more value out of the network is to collapse into a number of your stable mates within the kind of backing, and then to create kind of larger organisations that can then leverage scale and sort of the different engineering capabilities to make that monetising more effective. So M&A is a big piece, and we've started to see that the back end of last year.
Around the more operational areas, I've sort of noticed more of a driver or requirement for these networks to have greater visibility of what's going on, across the network. Perhaps it's something that they'd previously neglected. How are we at Axions addressing that?
It's quite a good point actually, because it's a really, really key thing. I think more and more businesses are becoming data driven, and what that in effect means is they need to have information to hand to then make decisions off of.
Yeah.
Even in the kind of operator space, and you're looking at an AltNet, you're looking at having the visibility of what's my infrastructure doing, how's it behaving, is there any kind of hotspots, are there any kind of challenges, what are my users doing, how are they working, what's the user experience, what kind of level of kind of experience are they getting, any kind of delays that we can infer sort of issues down the line, and then how also ecosystems of platforms that all interconnect together are behaving as a whole. Mm-hmm. You tend to be able to get information from the different element management systems. So each technology or vendor will have a platform that runs it. If you use that, then it will tell you lots and lots of information about that. If you've got 5 technologies, that's 5 platforms. So what we're doing is we're abstracting the information from the element management systems and from the end device themselves, crunching that data, and we can provide a whole load of dashboards to customers that give them different levels. So you've got an exec level, operations manager level, engineering level, and it gives them visibility as to what's going on, and it gives them the visibility to then make impactful kind of decisions in almost real time, to help with their customer experience, to help with kind of managing their costs, and to help with basically just making the infrastructure as robust as possible.
That's an interesting point, because it's all fair and well driving loads of subscribers, but if they're not happy customers, then that's not so good as well, because you don't want to be losing customers.
No, I mean, and one of the trends we're seeing across, other parts of our business, we do managed services ourselves. People are moving away from is it up, is it down as the metric for I've got a good service. It's gone on to can I use it now? If you look at, there was a really good survey done of broadband users and their top 5 things they care about. And the number 1 thing they care about was reliability. Is it up? Is it stable? Is it solid? Reliability is an absolutely key piece. It's very, very rare that it's one vendor from end to end. And even when there's one vendor end to end, there's very few platforms that manage the end to end for that one vendor. So you tend to find that you've got quite a lot of components and quite a lot of moving parts. And the ability to integrate and manage those as effectively as possible is becoming the number 1 driver for the operation businesses.
I mean, some of the conversations I've had with some of the larger alternative networks that are now looking at that shift in acquiring perhaps some other networks, and their issues and problems around these disparate networks, different technologies coming together, becoming a real headache. And I suppose we're blessed having those resources that cover the major vendors, Adtran, Nokia, Juniper, Cisco, skill sets that we've got in-house.
And in the AltNet space, if you think mergers and acquisitions, the ability to take in AltNet A, B and C and collapse them into your organisation, integrate their technologies into yours, the ability to then push your service set across all of that integrated technology is 100% the ultimate ambition and the ultimate goal. It's not a, does that box work really well with its management platform? It's more about, can I push my services down? Can I push my monitoring down on it? Can I get my visibility across the whole estate? Can I see my user's experience and my user journey across the whole estate? How can I push the services across the whole estate? That's the quickest way to them getting the monetization back of the network, which is the whole point of the M&A activity in the first place.
Chris, we've heavily invested in this customer experience centre. What's the main reason for us doing that?
I think context is the key thing. A lot of networking is sort of hidden away in comms rooms or data centres, and you end up working off of abstraction and designs, but actually having the ability to physically see some of the technologies in play, see the integrations, and then show sort of mock-ups of certain scenarios and use cases, and then we can walk through those with the customers to say, here's how we can help you to kind of fix these sort of challenges. So building
an instance of their actual network.
Yeah, we've got a very powerful ICSI tester that allows us to do mass scale subscribers, so we can talk about things like CG-NAV. We can look at the impact of increased subscriber count on their existing infrastructure, because we can show how here's the number of subs you've got at the minute, here's the sort of process flow we go through, here's the technologies in play. If I was to triple or quadruple the number of subs, what's the impact to your network? And then you can show them some of the interrelations and where the bottlenecks are, and how we can help with even sometimes just design tweaks to make it so the capacity is freed up in those areas.
And network security, another big area that I know Actions is really strong in.
Yeah, I think once you've gone past that wholesale model, which sort of lulls you into a bit of a false sense of security because it's someone else's problem for security, because you're a little isolated bubble, and then you plug into a few people who then access your subscribers. And just in terms of the UK, if you were to look at how to access the end user as a subscriber, it's BT, the other two major ones, and then the AltNets. So they're going to be a target for people who are targeting end users for whatever reason.
What kind of services do we provide around DDoS mitigation? And
we work with a number of customers on their CG-NAT, which in itself can offer a level of security because you're obscuring the kind of end user. Network security and DDoS detection and mitigation are becoming far more important. There's a number of the AltNets who are relying on the fact that they have an awful lot of capacity built into their network that they're not using to allow them to soak up some of the punches. As they scale up and they get more and more users logging in and using their infrastructure, that excess capacity is being soaked up quite a bit. So they're starting to feel some of these attacks a bit more. So yeah, DDoS is a key one. Then you've got, if you're offering business services, then you've got things like, malware, ransomware, those sort of things. You've got to try and work out how you can, if you can possibly kind of do intercept or do email as a service and stuff like those things. There are security services that can be offered by the AltNets to their subscribers that mean that they hold the keys to managing that security environment. And that then puts more stress onto those engineers. They might not have the skills in-house, and again, that's where we can help them to put together some services that they can sell on.
That's back to your point when you said there's just not as much resource in-house, whether it is just from the product manager side all the way through to security protocols and how the network's managed.
Where we can also help is the fact that we've got the experience across the different kind of technologies, and we can help them with the integration pieces from a technology consultancy piece rather than an architectural piece. One of our definite USPs is we're part of a bigger group. It means that we can offer a one-stop sort of integration partner to our customers.
So in effect, you've got access to 16,000 employees.
I've got 16,000 engineers I can tap into to leverage for design, deployment, ongoing management, break fix, field engineering.
Yeah, and across all of the major vendors, as you mentioned.
Across all the major vendors, across 37 countries. One of the things that appeals to a lot of the customers is the fact that they know that in this climate, we are here for the long term. We're not some kind of like organisation that's running year by year and just about working through when they get there. We've got financial backing and investment from our parent company, which means that we can commit to long-term contracts, long-term engagements.
So I suppose that's also impacted some of the procurement challenges as well. how can Axions help that as far as a group procurement, especially if, say, these investors own multiple AltNets. You know, obviously we work with the major vendors.
We can take a large sort of M&A engrossed sort of organisation that could be 5 different mini AltNets that become one big thing. We can help work with them to get the right level of engagement with the vendors.
Yeah.
And what it's about is trying to add a value to a customer at every stage in what they're trying to do. So we never deliberately jumped into we can help you put the stuff in the floor, because it's not our game. Where we add the value is where it becomes more complex, where they go, right, I've gone past sticking fibre in the ground, how do I then make it do better things for me? How do I do it more effectively, more efficiently? How do I build my ecosystem of tools and technologies to give me the outcome of getting to this place? And that strategic point where the CEO has kind of said, we're going to be here in 3 years' time. And part of what we do is here's what we're seeing elsewhere, here's what we're doing with other people, here's 3 other customers who've had the same sort of challenges you're going through, and here's what we did to help them with it. But they get to a point where they need help, and they need scaled help that can help them to get past those next hurdles to get to the next point in their evolution.
And consumers have been forcing broadband pricing down for 10 years, so that trend's not going to change, is it? So unless these AltNets look to do further services, or like the traditional Skies of the world offering additional TV services on top, yeah, that will continue to become commoditised, forced down. So 2025, we'll probably see more of either those portfolio changes, perhaps some brands that we did know disappearing, consumed by others, and a lot more tech and automation and cleverness going on behind the scenes, perhaps to help the reduced teams and resources.
Definitely. I mean, I think there'll be a load of new logos that we've never heard of before, and because they'll rather than just adopt one of the stable names, they'll create a new entity that they all fold under. Mm-hmm. I think the mantra will still be do more with less, even though they'll be trying to do more than just the more. So automation and tooling and capabilities will be absolutely critical to them, as will be the ecosystem of partners they work with, because nobody can do everything themselves. Everyone has to work with other people, and I think it's about picking the partners you work with. And if you are in this space, you're looking for someone who can help you to move from phase to phase, but also can help you past that and look at what the next thing could be, how we evolve past.
Assistance on the journey. Well, that wraps up our conversations for today, Chris. Thank you for sharing such valuable insights.
No, it's a pleasure. Hopefully it will highlight the fact that we've got a number of capabilities across a number of areas that will all be applicable for customers, and hopefully we can help them to move on in their journeys and the evolutions of their businesses.